What is going on, you average gamers? As always, I hope you're all having a fantastic day. This video might be my most controversial video I've ever made. I'm going to do a top 10 or maybe a top 5 list of the games you should most definitely try out and play. Now, the reason why this might have controversy to it is because a lot of this is going to be my opinion based off of the experience I have playing a bunch of these games. For example, I made a list of the games that I thought people would know the most about. The games include God of War, like the 2018 one, Red Dead Redemption 2, Spider-Man, both the Peter one and the Miles Morales, Elden Ring, Dying Light 2, Last of Us 2, Jedi Fallen Order, Assassin's Creed, Borderlands, Wonderlands, Resident Evil 2, the Batman games, Ghost of Tsushima, GTA 5, Sleeping Dogs, Devil May Cry 5, Watch Dogs, Need for Speed, and Far Cry games. So out of that entire list, I have to try to make a top 5 pretty much of the games that you should most definitely play. Now, when it comes to video games, I understand that a lot of people, including myself, put a bunch of time into this game and we get kind of hooked. What I'm trying to say is I completely understand the feeling of having your favorite game where you devoted so much time into it not make a top 10 or top 5 list. So again, I'm going to get this out of the way real quick. If your game doesn't make the list, or a game that you absolutely love, you don't hear its name, that doesn't mean the game's bad. The list I'm trying to make is more just for these single player gamers that are just looking to chill and relax and have a good time. For example, I'm going to rip this off like a band-aid because again, like I said, this is going to be controversial. So a game that is not in my top 5 that I'll let you know right now to kind of get an idea of where this list is going. Elden Ring is not in my top 5. Now before you click off of this video, I would absolutely love to explain. So if you take any sort of average gamer that's never really played From Software games, or say you're like 12, 13, 14 and you're just now starting to get into single player games, that game will throw you for an absolute loop. You're gonna get lost, you're not really gonna understand the story sometimes. The only thing you're really gonna like is the exploring. But if you don't have that will or that drive to look for every small crack or hit a wall 50 times or roll into a wall 50 times, you're gonna end up losing some sort of interest in that game. Now, I'm not saying I didn't like the game or I didn't enjoy it, but my own stubbornness is the only reason I even got as much stuff as I did. Now, my channel might be called Your Average Gamer, right? But I take video games pretty serious to the extent of I want to get the most out of it that I can. So if I spend $60 to $70 on a game, I'm going to play it even if I don't like it. So with Elden Ring, you'll hear me talk about this game a lot, right? Because when the game came out, everybody was talking about it, everybody was playing it, and good, that's exactly how video games should be. At all times, everybody should just talk nothing good about it. But it's one of those games where if you try to critique it or say something about it, you have a community of fans just attack you, and that's the gaming stuff that I don't like. Like, I'm just trying to enjoy it. I'm trying to have a good time. There's some of the most amazing boss fights I've ever had in that game, but at the same time, I've never really played a single player game and got frustrated the way I did. Again, keep in mind that I'm only talking about the single player aspect of the game. So for example, you'll hear me say GTA in my top 10 list, but I don't mean the multiplayer aspect, because at that point, you might as well put that at number 1, because that is probably the most popular game in the world. So with all of that out of the way, I'm going to jump right into the list. At number 10, I have Borderlands or Wonderlands. I understand that they're two different games, but they're kind of pretty much the same concept. The jokes are good, the weapons are fun to use, and there's endgame content. So you're not just playing this game and then beating it and have nothing to do. They give you more stuff to do after you beat the campaign. But the reason I have this at number 10 is because, again, it deserves to be played. It's fun, it's a beautiful art style, and I just think it's a completely underrated game when it comes to single player games. At number 9, I have Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now again, this is where things are going to get a little bit controversial. I'm not saying that this Assassin's Creed game is better than all the other games, right? But it is the most updated, it is the biggest, the most, I would say, ambitious in the fact that you can spend straight days on this game just exploring. And me being me, that's exactly what I did. There's a lot of content. And it might not be for everybody, but the world itself is beautiful, the graphics are top notch, and that's exactly why I have it at number 9. Right after that, at number 8, I got Ghost of Tsushima. Now, anybody that played this game, I'm really excited to hear what you have to say down in the comments. I'll never forget my first time playing this game. It is so beautiful, the graphics are top notch, and that alone is exactly why it's on my list. The story is compelling, and my god, some of the sword combat and the combat abilities that you learn are very addicting for such a simple button pressing game. But between the timings and the animations, nothing gets boring. At number 7, I have Elden Ring. Now, on my list, it might be lower than what you would put it on, but let me explain. So, this game offers probably one of the best first-time experiences ever. Now, what I mean by that is, anytime that you play a game for the first time, you capture this magic moment of, I'll never get this back. And that's exactly what Elden Ring is. The stuff that you see, the monsters that you face, the weapons that you get, are all very, very fun. But sometimes it can be a little too demanding and a little too ambitious. So I really enjoyed exploring this beautiful, beautiful world. The only thing is, I don't think I'd ever do it again from scratch. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't any replayability. I've beaten the game multiple times, got multiple different story endings and quest lines that I didn't complete my first time. But I just don't think I could do all of that over again and look for all of this different loot again from scratch, just because there is so much of it and it's everywhere, and sometimes it's hard to find, and getting it can be aggravating. At number 6, I have GTA 5. Now, this game I wasn't quite sure where to put it because it offers a lot of different things for different players. You know, you can play this game any way you want. The story is pretty entertaining, but if you play it multiple times, it does get burned out eventually. That's my opinion of it. I have it upgraded on my PS5, so again, the graphics and the 60 frames per second feel and all look amazing. So that's why I have it at number 6. At number 5, I kind of have a two-way tie. I have the 2018 Spider-Man and the Spider-Man Miles Morales. Both games deserve its own separate playthrough. They're so amazing. Anything or everything that's great about the 2018 Spider-Man is implemented in the Miles version. The Miles version is just shorter, but it's more compact. There's a lot to it. There's a lot more fluidity, and man, the swinging animation in that game, if that doesn't get you to play it, I don't know what else will. Not only is the combat fun, but you can freestyle and do all these really cool, awesome swinging animations and swing out of it, and it is beautiful and a sight to see. At number 4, again, my opinion of this, the only superhero game to be better than the Spider-Man game is the Batman games. For anyone that's never really played the Batman games or haven't played all of them, I recommend starting from the first one because it will only improve and get better. Again, controversial. A lot of people think the second one in Arkham City is way better than Arkham Knight, and it's hard to disagree with that. The story of Arkham City is amazing, but the stuff you're able to do combat wise and stealth wise in Arkham Knight, man, That is awesome. So, at number 4, I have Batman. See, now we're really starting to get into the heart of this. There's only 3 left, and I really hope that I got at least most of your top 3s. These are my top 3s again, so if your top 3 isn't in here, I apologize. But at number 3, I have The Last of Us 2. So I had pre-ordered this game, and I was too excited to wait till the next morning. I had to play it at midnight on release day, and it was the worst decision of my life. And again, let me explain. So, spoiler alert, but I'm pretty sure everyone knows about this now. In the first 2 hours that you play the game, pretty much, depending on what you're exploring and looking at, I'm reading every single thing that I can, so it took me a while to get here. But anyway, you get to a point where you watch Joel die. Now, as somebody that has put a bunch of time into the first game and pretty much convinced himself that, Joel was my dad, it took kind of an emotional turn on me as soon as it happens. I didn't want to play the game anymore. I was kind of confused to why they would just do that to everybody's favorite character. And again, it threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting any of it, and I wasn't able to pick the controller up, nor was I able to go to bed. Now, that all being said, I really feel like that's what makes a video game beautiful. I was sitting there kind of traumatized by it, but I also wanted to keep playing it because the game itself is amazing. I have beaten it a bunch of times on PS4, and they had updated it for PS5 to give 60 frames per second, and I think I played it more on the 60 frames than I ever have on PS4, just because of how great it not only looked, but now felt. At number 2, a lot of people might have this at number 1. I had it at number 1 for a while. But at number 2, I have the 2018 God of War. I could literally talk about this game all day. The reason why it was my absolute favorite game for a long time was because I had put so much time into it. When you see a video when it's like, this is what 1,000 hours looks like? That's what I did. And I only did it because I firmly believe that it's true, that I put that much time into this game. I had beaten it so many times. I wanted to learn every aspect and lore. I basically wanted to understand what the second game was going to be about, even though that's kind of impossible because they can do practically anything that they want and it will blow your mind. The combat, the scenery, the story, this game is an actual masterpiece. So if it's an actual masterpiece, why isn't it at number 1? Well, that's because at number 1, I have another true, absolute, beautiful masterpiece in Red Dead Redemption 2. What's super ironic about this entire thing is the very first time I ever played Red Dead, I didn't like it. Now, it's just because, again, I'm coming from these faster-paced games that are in your face, action 24/7, to this Red Dead game that's slower-paced, story-driven. You're supposed to just sit there and look at the scenery and fish. Now, when you hear stuff like that, it's not very exciting, but man, when you play the game, it just grabs a hold of your heart and it hugs it. It hugs it so tight. It is an amazing game. Again, something I could talk about for days on end. The amount of detail in that game. I see videos that are 3-4 hours long that has over 200 details in Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, if that doesn't scream greatest game of all time, I don't know what does. But to me, what makes it number 1, not only the story nor the graphics, but the gameplay is so fun. I never really had a third-person shooter like on 30 frames feel really good. And that slow motion Deadeye, the upgrades you get for it, the customization, everything in that game deserves all the awards it's won and all the appreciation it's got. Anyways, that's gonna do it for my video. I really hope that you enjoyed my list. If you did, a like would mean an absolute ton. As always, I love y'all and I hope y'all stay smooth.